The Calcasieu Parish School Board meeting of Tuesday, November 14, 2017 is now called to order. I'll ask Ms. Annette Ballard.
Am I on? Okay. I'll ask Ms. Annette Ballard to lead us in the prayer and Jordan Mouton to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Heavenly Father, we pray for your guidance as we deliberate the important decisions before us this evening. We pray for wisdom, understanding, and the courage to do what is best for all. Save us from all error, ignorance, crime, and prejudice, so that our work will be pleasing in your sight. We thank you for our many blessings. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Pledge of Allegiance leader is from Bell City High School. Jordan is a senior at Bell City, the daughter of Laurie and Michael Mouton. She's in the gifted program, has attended LCBA each year of high school. She has a composite of 33 on the ACT, has been named as a semifinalist in the National Merit Scholarship Program with plans to enroll at Northwestern, Tulane, or LSUS in the fall of 2018. She's taken 5 AP exams previously and scored a 5 on each of them. She is slated to take an additional 3 this year and could potentially graduate with over 40 hours of college credit, depending on where she goes to college. Outstanding. She's been active in the Quiz Bowl, Student Council, and the Spanish Club, while also offering free structured tutoring to her fellow students. Ms. Jordan Mouton. Thank you, Jordan. Oh, yes, Ms. Mouton, I think your mother's here. Would you stand up and be recognized for your influence in your daughter's life? Thank you very much for being here. All right, Mr. Bookhouse, I think we're ready for the roll call.
Yes, sir. Ms. Ballard?
Wait a minute, wait. What do we have? I'm sorry? The principal is in the back? Stand up. Sit down. All right.
Anybody else?
All right. Okay, I'm sorry, Mr. Brookhouse, please.
Yes, sir. Ms. Ballard?
Here.
Mr. Breaux? Mr. Castillo? Here. Mr. Delafall? Here. Mr. Duhon? Here. Mrs. Gay? Here. Mr. Guidry? Here. Mr. Hardesty? Here. Mr. Hardy? Here. Mr. Hayes?
Here.
Mr. Natale? Here. Mr. Roberts? Here. Mr. Tarver?
Here.
Mr. Smith? Here. Mr. Williams? Here. You have a quorum, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Brookhouse. We would like to do a little housekeeping before we get into the agenda. Under item 8, we would like to delete item 8A. For this month, we will be talking about this next month, and we would like to add item 8G, and we're looking for a motion to do that.
So move on 8G.
Second.
The agenda.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Thank you. Now we'll go to the approval of minutes. Oh, that's true. Before we do that, let me go ahead and read what item 8G is about in case someone might want to fill out a blue card and discuss it. 8G will be take appropriate action on the resolution employing special counsel in Dolores Louise Trosclair versus Calcasieu Parish School Board and ABC Insurance Company, suit number 2017-4350, Division B, 14th Judicial District Court, Calcasieu Parish, Louisiana. Okay, now we'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes. So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion at all on the minutes for October 10th meeting? There being none, all in favor of accepting, say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Presentations. Mr. Jamie Raspberry, if you would, please, sir. Jamie is the Director of Lake Charles Memorial Hospital Sports Medicine.
Good evening. Tonight I'm going to be doing the quarterly report for y'all from from the dates of August the 1st through October 31st. We did, during those time frame, we did 100 varsity football games. We had 8 football jamborees in the parish, 33 JV football games, 17 freshman football games, 8 football scrimmages, 75 varsity volleyball games, 8 freshman volleyball games, 31 JV volleyball games. They had 2 volleyball tournaments held in the parish by our school. During that time frame, we also had 4 basketball started, so we had 4 basketball varsity games, 3 JV, 2 freshman basketball games. The area had 4 big basketball scrimmages. We had a Lake Area Hall of Fame basketball classic at the Breaux Coliseum we helped do. We had 2 cross-country meets in the parish. And we also, it was time to start the wrestling hydration testing and weight management program at that time frame, and we held one meeting of that during that time frame, which brings us to 299 sporting events we went to in those 3 months. We also continue to visit the schools 5 times a week for our contract with y'all, and continued our programs for concussion management, injury prevention. During that time frame, we did 271 injury assessments, and 41% of those needed to seek attention of a doctor. Now, that's usually a little higher this time of year because of football season. It's usually about 26 to 28%, but we always see it jump up in the fall to about in the 40s. So that's normal. So that's pretty much all I have tonight.
Anybody have any questions or discussions for Jamie? I see none. Jamie, thank you very much. We appreciate your quarterly report and the service you provide to Calcasieu Parish School System.
Thank you so much.
All right. Moving on to item 6, it's superintendent's report time. Mr. Brookhouse.
Yes, sir, you received your school population report and your Head Start report. In Head Start, under program governance, our policy council members attended the October 13th school board meeting. I think you were fortunate to get to meet those folks. We had them stand up, and as we introduced them, and the policy council bylaws were approved. In the operations area, we currently have 466 enrolled in our Head Start program. Read for the Record Day was held at the centers. The book, The Quackers, was read to students. A family engagement activity was held at J.D. Clifton Head Start, Dads in Action. Over 57 fathers participated in this event. Keith Bell, parenting partner facilitator, presented on discipline versus punishment. Staff presented at the Louisiana Early Childhood Association Conference in Alexandria. Developmental, health, and safety screenings have also been completed for all sites. I'd now like to report on our current sales tax number for our general fund for October 2017. They show collections at $16,914,146, or 125.4% above budget for the 4th month of the year. We received one big check from one vendor in our sales tax department of nearly $38 million. 44% of that belongs to the school board, which is roughly $16.5 million. So you can see while we were above budget by 16.9, 16.5 of that came from one-time check from one vendor. So it's not something we'll be able to count on forever, obviously. Collections are $17,029,086, or 127.3% above collections for the same month last year. And as I said, the same thing applies there on that big check. Collections for the year after 4 months were $27,296,273, or 53.1% over budget, and $27,298,362, or 53.1% over the same time period last year. Mr. Bourne also recently has been in touch with the state of Louisiana to project out how this sales tax growth will affect our MFP in the next 5 years. They're compiling that report now for us, and we'll be able to report back to us based on these collections where our MFP will be over the next 5 years. They absolutely confirmed that because of the local sales tax growth, our MFP amount will be going down, but they have to run the analysis to tell us how much they're estimating that to take place. So that also, last item, Just a reminder that we do have our bond elections on Saturday in districts 23, 31, 33, and 34. And so that's just a reminder. And that completes my report.
Any questions or comments about the superintendent's report, Ms. Gates?
Yes, I have one question, just for my information. Mr. Brookhouse, in the state looking over our tax collection averaging for the next 5 years, in the event that this growth in tax collection is reduced, do they go back and review and reassign an MFP?
It's always 2 years later, Ms. Gates. So we're going to get hit for this 2 years from now.
Okay,
When it goes back down, we don't get the money back for 2 years after that.
yeah, but it will be adjusted to reflect.
Always a 2-year delay, and in that 2-year delay, either way, we're responsible for surviving.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Any further comments, questions? Thank you, Mr. Brookhouse. There are no committee reports. We go to agenda item 8, take appropriate action. We have deleted 8A. We go to 8B, approval of National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration B-Wet Grant Project, Wetland Restoration through Aquaponics.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Any questions? Any comments? Yes, ma'am.
What is it?
That's a good question. Mr. Brookhouse, what is it?
I'd like Mr. McDaniel, if he doesn't mind, to come up and explain it to you. He's
Wonderful.
the brainchild behind this thing, so let's let him tell you about it.
Hello. At Lake Charles, Boston, we have an aquaponics system that is set up right now, and it is it's a system that the students maintain, and they collect data from it. It's basically bringing together aquaponics and hydroponics, so an aquaculture setup and hydroponics. These two things come together, and the students at Lake Charles, Boston can use it. The grant looks to expand that to where all of our students, middle school and high school, are able to use the system. So some things happen to where we're able to put in a system where all of the monitoring can be done remotely. And that's just one part of it. Other parts include field trips and visits to Nature Lab. So we've got a lot of good things going on with this.
Any questions? Yes, sir, Mr. Hardy.
This question goes to Mr. Campbell. Mr. Campbell, I think it's an interesting project. Is it going through CNI and the science department?
Mr. McDaniel is part of the science department.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, he works with us.
Is part of the science department.
And with our consultants and people in that area?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Roberts?
I just have a comment. I was fortunate enough to meet with Mr. McDaniel, since this is kind of what I do for a living. And so I was able to see the facility and visit with him on his project. And I certainly support it. And, you know, I can tell you, people don't realize how close we are to the goal. And our wetlands are so important. And I don't think our children really appreciate it that much. And I think this is a great way to engage them with the science and technology, chemistry, it's all there. And if he can do it remotely, like he's talking about, he can include a lot of people, a lot of children throughout this parish. So I'm definitely supported and look forward to anything I can do to work with you if you're successful.
Thank you.
Mr. Delafosse?
Where is this located? I don't think I've seen this facility. Is it at Lake Charles Boston Academy?
It's directly across from Pearl Watson.
So I know the academy, but where is this? Is it like a?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
As you walk out of Pearl Watson, you'd be directly facing the aquaponics. It's in a greenhouse.
Okay. Describe it a little bit to me. I'm not sure what it is.
Sure. There's a greenhouse that encloses the entire thing. There's a 2,500 gallon reservoir of water, and there are currently fish in it. Okay. And they're catfish. It's a freshwater system, and what we look to do is switch that over from freshwater to saltwater, and we're going to change the fish from catfish to Calcasieu minnows, and just make everything simulate what we have on the coast. And instead of having just things that they're interested in growing, like tomatoes or basil, that type of thing, we'll have wetland grasses. So the entire project will culminate in students going out and planting the grasses in the restoration project.
Awesome. And how much is your grant for that you?
It edged right up to $100,000, just below.
Wow.
And
Thank you.
it is a 2-year grant.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Any further questions or comments? Are we ready to vote? All in favor of approving this project, say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Thank you, and thank you, sir, and good luck.
Move on, C.
All right, we have a motion on C, approval of resolution approving one-time sales tax supplement for active employees. Second. We have a couple of blue cards here. Vicki Johnson.
I'm Vicki Johnston, representing Calcasieu Association of Educators, and I know tonight we had quite a few teachers, so if you're a teacher, wave your hand. We're very pleased with the amount of the one-time supplement that we're getting this time. Just a quick question for the part-time certified teachers. Are they going to get half of the $28.50 or are they going to get half of the $2,000 if they're a part-timer?
I'll defer to Mr. Brookhouse.
Yeah, if they're in a teaching position, teacher-based position, they'll get half of the teacher amount.
So they'll get half of $28.50?
Yeah.
And we appreciate this. We understand that you tried to give us the max, and we understand the MFP, and everybody's pretty happy. Some people think it's a bonus, but I keep telling them it's not a bonus. It's not a Christmas bonus. It's your salary supplement, so it goes towards their retirement. So thank you.
We have another blue card. This is Terry Johnson. Terry? No Ken.
Well, hers is S-T-O-N.
Oh,
Oh.
thank you.
S-O-N.
Good.
Sis. Okay.
You look like Chief of Penn, right?
Hey, I just want, represent Calcasieu Parish of Teachers. I'm Terry Johnson. I'm the president, and we also would like to say thank you. And please have a happy holiday, because I know a lot of teachers will. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. Mr. Brookhouse, you want to go ahead and announce the specifics in case there are folks out there who aren't aware of what kind of money we're talking about?
Yes, sir. We're following our standard process. The active date of record will be November the 9th for this supplement, so you need to be here on November the 9th. And those based on the teacher's salary schedule will be paid a gross supplement of $2,850. And all other personnel, $2,000. Half of the appropriate supplement paid to employees that work part-time less than 4 hours a day. And that was a question you heard earlier. A lot of folks ask, well, do you give it as a separate check or do you include it in the November payroll? We've run it both ways from a tax perspective. If we do it as a separate check, the employee has to receive a flat tax amount coming out of it, which will not benefit the majority of our employees. So they come out better off including it in their November payroll check, which is what we'll do on the last day of November.
Okay.
And so we're recommending that, obviously, to be approved tonight.
And I understand this is the largest supplement that's ever been considered.
Yes, sir. In the hurricane year, we got into the 2000s, but this is the largest.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Since you're ready to vote, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Thank you. All right, we move on to item 8D, resolution ordering and calling a special election sales tax district number 3. Been moved by Mr. Duon, seconded by Mr. Smith. Any discussion? Any comments? There being none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? It passes unanimously. Item 8E, resolution approving Phillips 66 for participation in the industrial tax exemption program. Ms. Moore, we have a motion. Mr. Delphos and Mr. Duon, a second. Mr. Brookhouse, you have any comments on this?
Yes, sir. We sent a couple people to serve on a parish-wide committee with representatives from the Sheriff's Department, Police Bureau. As part of the state program now for tax exemption, we get a local say. Those three entities, through our representatives, Mr. Barnes represents us, and Mr. Foster in his absence. This is the first one. That'll probably become a standing item on your agenda as companies come forth now when they're doing improvements and additions in Calcasieu Parish. They will run through this local committee, come to you for approval on these tax exemptions, rather than going directly to the state as they've always done before.
And this is for how long a period of time?
Within period 5 years, or 3 years.
So they would have to come back in 5 years to apply for the 3-year extension? Or are we giving them permission for the full 8?
They have to come back.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? Yes, Mr. Dewar.
Yeah, the committee we've got with the Sheriff's Department and the police jury are, at any time, are we going to start negotiating maybe to pay out parcel on a 20-year basis, or, you know, the impact to the community is considerable, and we get nothing for the firstly 10 years. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I think that the benefit we have now is we get to see the data. Also, the fact that we're only approving the first 5, and they'll have to come back for the second 5, that's not the way it's been in the past. When they went to Baton Rouge before, they instantly got 5 and 5.
Right.
No, you know, and we never even knew they were doing it, and we didn't know about the data for things going on in our own parish. We're better off with this process than we were before. We're still not going to get dollars from day one, which is not.
Right.
And frankly, the state still has the ability to override us.
Right.
But at least we know where we are.
Ms. Hartman, I see you back there. Do you guys want to say anything? Y'all represent Philip 66, you or your guest. You may want to introduce him. Or he may want to introduce himself.
Hi, I'm Megan Hartman with Phillips 66, and I have a guest here tonight, Bob Adair, and I'll allow him to speak a little bit more about it.
Yes, I participated in this process. We applied for it in late October, and we worked with R.B. Smith, who is also here in the chamber, and in the group with the parish and the sheriff. So we'd be glad to talk about the project, or I don't know if anything else you would like for us to provide an overview, or whatever your preference. We want to respect your time.
Anyone have a question? Mac?
Why should we do this? I think that will probably answer the question for some that may not know why we should go ahead and pass this exemption.
Okay, it's considered a tax incentive, and we're not close to approval yet. What we're doing is there's several of us on the business development team that go out and try to improve the economics of the project. And my task is just the industrial tax exemption part of it. So in other words, it will feed into the economic project, and our management will decide if they go forward with the project or not. So as far as what benefit you will receive, the school district, let me pull what I sent to the committee. We modeled over and recognizing that the assessor, of course, determines the assessed value, but basically using Louisiana Tax Commission guidelines and 2016 millages and that kind of, we modeled it, and we estimated for all jurisdictions over a 20-year period, you would get about 20 million estimated taxes, 20.1 million. So of that portion, the school would be 5.2 million. And we just arbitrarily put 20 years. I mean, we expect it to be a longer project than that, to have a longer life. Did I adequately answer your question?
I think you did.
Okay.
Mr. Dillon?
You said, so this is the tax we'll collect after the 10-year exemption you're telling us? Did you say?
No, it's no longer a 10-year exemption. It's the governor changed that last year.
Okay.
It's 5 years and then 3 years at 80%.
But you said we would, the school system or the entities would receive so much money. When would that kick in, after the 8 years? Or
That kicks in actually year 6. You start getting 20% for 3
Okay.
years. And then you get 100% of the assessed value after that.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Hardy?
Yes, I'm looking at the data I have here, and I was concerned about the new direct job where we have listed 2 people.
Yes, sir. Oh, can you explain that? Okay.
Yeah, could there be more than 2 people?
There are 2 jobs, and we discussed that a lot with our management. And there's about 150 construction jobs associated with it. But the state guidelines and the state rules, the industrial tax exemptions now say it has to either provide employment, new employment, or you make your case for your retaining employment. So what this project does, I'll quickly say if you're not familiar with it, it's proposed 200 million or thereabouts, and it's I'll use one technical term and not dwell on it, isomerization unit, which basically increases the octane level so we can make premium gasolines again. So that in effect, that's been lacking for a while, and that helps the refinery to be economically viable. It helps in that area. So in other words, it's only adding 2 jobs, but it's helping to preserve indirectly the other jobs that are there.
Well, I was concerned about that 2 jobs, but are you saying in this project, whatever it is, there are additional construction jobs? Is that what you're saying?
Correct. The 2 jobs is only the permanent Phillips 66 jobs. So in addition to that, there's we estimate 150 construction jobs.
Yeah, well, how do you balance that off with not paying taxes for 5 years at 100%? Does that balance off well when you start?
Well, this is a tax incentive. Also keep in mind that industry pays, the assessment ratio is 50% higher than residential. In other words, 15% versus 10%. So that 15 versus 10, that's 50% difference. So we also put in our information submitted to the group is we currently pay $11.5 million per year in property taxes to Calcasieu Parish. And I don't have that broken down for just the school, but I've got it for several companies that we have here.
Mr. Brooke, I know we don't have a lot of experience with this because the governor just instituted this thing. And, but I'm concerned that when we look back at what Bobby General did over the years, that we don't get too deeply involved in simply giving away the store. Thank you, Lon.
Well, okay, I will just say that the idea is not to give away the store. The idea is to provide an incentive for business to continue to operate and to make that capital investment.
Mr. Tarpley?
Yeah, I was just going to comment. I know that people are going to ask us why are we giving all these exemptions for these things? We have to have answers. We're sure we just have to have answers to self-educate. The comment that I was going to say
I'm trying to
is
put myself in your shoes.
right. So the comment I was going to say is that there's no trickery to it. It's an incentive to get a business to invest in our community. It's an incentive, and it's not giving away tax dollars that we are making right now. We're giving them away. If you don't do incentives like this, then there's no investment. We get no tax dollars. So it's a trade-off. We're giving up some tax exemption now to incentivize a business to invest in the community that we can make tax income off of in 5 years. That's the comment that I was going to make. I'm sure you agree with that.
I concur.
Any other comments or questions? Thank you, sir. Thank you for your comments. Since we're ready to vote, all in favor of the approval of Phillips 66 for participation in the tax exemption program, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Thank you. All right, we are down to 8F, approval of Striving Readers Comprehensive Library grant proposal. It's been moved by Mr. Delafonte, second.
Second.
Second by Ms. Ballard. Any discussion? Any questions? Yes, sir, Mr. Harder.
Is it good here?
All right. I'll answer your question.
All right. Mr. Brookhouse, on the grant proposal where you have the schools grouped,
Yes, sir.
I was looking at that group and I kept thinking as I read that, you have Pearl, Washington, Conway, Clifton, Johnson in a certain district. I was wondering if it's possible to redistrict that so those schools would be, can work more closely together.
Well, actually, it really doesn't matter. It's actually 2 groups of 5. So it's 2 separate grants we've applied for. We may get one, we may get none, or we may get both. It's $351,000 per group, per year, for up to 3 years.
So it won't make a difference.
No, it doesn't make a difference, and it has to be economically disadvantaged students, students with disabilities, and English second language students. So we actually had to group the schools to maximize those groups, all 3 categories, to have the best opportunity to get the grant, is why they were doing it that way. Yes, sir.
Any other questions or comments? Yes, sir, Mr. Delphine.
So, in combination with the grant that we filled out for January,
Yes.
how will that impact, because some of these same schools are included, so this will kind of piggyback and just add, continue.
Above
that
and
one-
beyond, this is basically for literacy. This will not take any teachers out of the classroom. It's professional development and literacy add-on. Each cohort had to have a Head Start component to it. So you see each one of these have a Head Start component. The main focus is to provide, like I said, professional development to our teachers and administrators and support them on the use of Tier 1 curriculum at ELA.
Okay, so, now that you added that last part, you said it's tier, so these schools will be using our Tier 1 curriculum?
If we receive the grant, we're committing to use Tier 1 curriculum, right? We also did in the other grant, though, for
Right.
those schools.
Okay. What percent of this, do we have any idea of professional development? Because I always wonder how much is going directly into the classroom. So we're not hiring anybody, so it's strictly for the most part to train teachers to know more of what it takes for literacy?
It is. As far as, I guess the point is, we're not hiring any full-time people in this grant. It's strictly for supplementary, like I said, professional development, supplies, materials.
So who oversees it? Who's the director, I guess? Or we don't know that yet? Because there's got to be somebody that's going to implement it, I'm assuming.
We're going to implement it through CNI.
So that will be who? Okay, so those particular teachers will need to, CNI will instruct them how to fill out to do the professional development.
Ms. Good will manage the financial side, Mr. Campbell and his team will manage the instruction side.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Yes, ma'am. Ms. Gay.
Mr. Brookhouse, the schools that are listed here are schools that we have spoken of extensively. Now we're in the process of applying for this $351,000 to do basically some of the same things. How does this overlap with the program that the city has implemented? I mean, these children are only in school so many hours of the day, and we're targeting them already with reading and literacy and these types of things. And I don't know how far the city's program has gone, but I know the mayor has implemented a program for after-school care that's pretty much targeted in those same areas. Maybe Mr. Campbell could answer this. What are you going to be doing differently with this grant if we receive it, as opposed to all of the positive things that you currently implemented for the huge anticipated grant from the states for these same schools?
Mrs. Gay, if we could get someone to work with our kids for literacy 24 hours a day, we would do it. And so this is not an after-school program. This money is mainly geared towards providing professional development for the implementation of literacy strategies to train the teachers to better deliver instruction during the classroom time. So it's not geared towards an after-school program. We are working with the people that you're talking about, trying to coordinate with them for after-school programs. So we're all in favor of anything that is going to put literacy in the forefront of our kids. It does not, if you're also talking about how it aligns with the other grants that we're implementing, the others, the redesign and the STIC grants dealt more with the implementation of TAP strategies and modeling of stuff. This is going to be another layer of professional development on top of that that's geared specifically for literacy, where TAP was more of an instructional model for all teachers in the classroom. But this is not going to be a lot of extra work or anything placed on the administrators. These are all each one of our administrators have signed assurances saying that they want this and they want it into this grant. So this is not something that an additional thing we're trying to push on teachers and schools. Obviously, these are schools that need as much help as possible. We're committed to doing that. We're committed to doing every single thing possible to put as many resources as we can into these schools. We think this is one more layer that will help, and they are 100% behind us.
Okay, I can understand that, but my concern was not specifically with the personnel, but these are all very young children up to 5th grade. Just how many different programs are they going to be handled in the course of the day? It's almost like it's overlapping. I can't see it now, but I'll go home and I'll think about it and I'll try to figure out, because there are only so many days, so many hours in the school day, and we're talking about adding something else. Anything that's going to help the students, I support that wholeheartedly. But we're talking about little people, and we're constantly implementing programs and things for them to do, and it just appears to me personally. Now, everybody else probably has a different idea about this, but it seems like it's all overlapping. We're just calling it a different name.
You know, in the last time we applied for a Circle grant, only a few of you were here when we applied for a Circle grant last time. There was a big discussion. We didn't apply for these schools, almost for that reason. Exactly what you're saying. And we thought about it this time, but this time the state closed the gap on that. They said that it had to be these schools that were high at risk, high disability, high ELL, or you couldn't get it. So our debate was, do we apply and see if we can get it, or do we just let the money go? And we just can't bring ourselves to let the money go.
Oh, I understand that.
When
And
we know we
Mr.
have-
Campbell knows I'll come in and talk to him once I've thought about it for a while, and I have specific questions.
I don't think
but-
you're unreasonable in what you're saying, but we had to do these schools if we were gonna apply, and more is better than none.
Yes, I absolutely
And
agree.
Mrs. Gay, we weighed that concern because we know the challenges that face these schools. But this is not a program that we're implementing. It's not a program at all. We're not going to add any minutes, any ELM minutes to the day. We're not going to ask any child to sit through more minutes. We're asking you to accept this so that we can provide the PD for our teachers so that the instruction can be more effective during that 165 minutes of the day.
Oh, I love free money. I'm waiting to win the lottery. It's just that I was just a little concerned about the little people that were being affected by it. It was like we're putting this burden on these little people.
Ideally, they wouldn't even recognize it if it's done right.
Okay.
We're good? Any other comments or questions? All right, since you're ready to vote to approve the grant proposal, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Passes unanimously. All right, we go down to the supplemental item that we added, 8G. We have a motion by Mr. Delafosse. Second by Mr. Duan. Mr. Brookhouse, do you want to address this at all, or are we good? This is the legal team. Item 8G.
Yeah, what we had is we had a conflict with attorneys who normally represent us, that they were involved in another capacity. So we coordinated with our insurance company to develop another law firm.
Okay, any questions, comments? All in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Passes unanimously. We'll move to item 9A, under bid reports. Bid report for Sam Houston High School demolition of gym and associated spaces. So moved. Been moved by Mr. Duan. We have a second. I didn't see who did it. Mr. Natale. Any discussion, any questions? Mr. Hart? Yes.
is, I voted the past week, and as I was voting, we had quite a few people who were questioning me about the demolition of a gym and the lack of what Gillis believes they should get. Have you had that kind of discussion, Mr. Brookhouse, with anybody in the Moss Bluff area?
Dave? Yes, sir.
And what do you feel they're asking for?
I think you already approved the construction of a new gym at Sam Houston High School earlier. This is the beginning of that process to demolish the old one.
Well, basically what they were telling me, I understand what you're saying, that they preferred the gym to stay there and work on Gillis first. I guess you responded to that kind of question?
Yeah, I would tell you there's probably people on both sides of every one of those issues. You happen to run into some who didn't want this done. I guarantee you there's some others, had you run into them, they want this done. So you guys are the elected officials. We'll yield to those who represent the district to make that decision.
Well, I think they were asking me questions like this. Where does the sales tax boundary end for Moss Bluff and for Gillis? Who pays that sales tax?
It's the geographic boundaries of Ward 1 of Calcasieu Parish.
And how much, where does that cover? I'm not familiar with the.
I think the southern boundary is English Bayou. Do you remember?
Calcasieu River.
Calcasieu River. Northern boundary is the Breaux Parish line.
So the people in Gillis are paying that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
For those businesses, that they shop at in that ward. Anybody who shops and pays sales tax in that ward is paying that tax.
And Gillis is really in the Thomas district, is that right?
I think Gillis Elementary technically is in Mr. Natale's district.
Yeah, I'm a little confused where the boundary lines go.
Well, Mr. Hardy, we're not really voting on the boundary lines.
Well, we're talking about the tax within.
Yes, we are.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much.
Okay. Mr. Duan.
Mr. Hardy, when you voted on 8C, you voted to make great improvements on Gillis School. We could cancel the gym, and that still wouldn't be enough money to do anything at Gillis to provide them with anything significant. So that's why we did the gym. The gym is the oldest school building in Moss Bluff. Built in '61, there were about 300 kids at the school when it was built. So you can imagine when they got 1,200 kids now in that gym, the boys trying to function, it just does not working. So with this proposal, we can do a lot of stuff for Gillis and get a new gym and make everybody happy.
Mr. Brookhouse, the low bidder is, am I getting this right, Kylan Construction?
Yes, sir. Keelan Construction.
Keelan Construction
Yes,
for $147,000, right?
Yes, sir.
That's what we're voting to approve.
Yes, sir.
All right, are we ready? All in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Passes unanimously. Item 10, permission to advertise, we have none. Item 11, we have a motion by Mr. Delafosse. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Ballard. Change order number 6 for the project Classroom Pods Phase 10, increase of $76,542.87 from Sales Tax District 3, an increase of $32,322.32 from Riverboat funds for a total increase of $108,865.19. Shampoo Evans Hotard Architect Miller and Associates Development Company Incorporated Contractor. Any discussion about the change order?
Yes.
Mr. Delafosse.
On this change order, and we'll look at number 6 recap. I want to make sure that I read that correctly. You said Sales Tax District 3. This is not under Sales Tax District 3, is it? All these big bonds, these pods?
No, it's Riverboat funds, but the change at Sam Houston is basically a redesign of our standard pod. In other words, they wanted it on the interior to move some walls and do things we don't
So that's
normally
gonna-
do.
Okay, that's,
And
Okay.
we said, okay, if you want to do that, that's going to be yours.
well, I'm glad you cleared it up because one of the issues I had was, these pods were standard cookie cutters, so now how many people were gonna want revisions? So the 76,542 will not come out of Riverboat Fund, that's sales tax.
That's why it's worded that way.
All right, that clears that up.
That's right.
The other ones, I guess, is with Sam Houston High, number 43, it says they had a 2-hour rated separation wall, that other 20,000 also?
That's code, no, that's code stuff that we normally, we have to, because they're butting up against another pod, and that wasn't figured in the original plan.
This is the kind of stuff we talk about. If these are cookie cutter pods, how do we continue to add on stuff that they should have foreseen?
Our architect, who was the original designer on the pods for the last 15 years, retired. When the new architect started looking at the code stuff, they revised some things based on what they saw that we need to do.
So this is mainly code.
Most of this that you see here are code related, yes. The fire extinguishers, firewalls, most of the change orders you've seen so far on this job have been code, wind.
Right. So because this is the only one that I've seen that had this 2-hour separation wall, so because we don't have any other pods that are butting up to others, or do we have any other pods that's butting up to others? Because we're going to have to expect that in some of the other pods.
We have one in San Houston that's already built, that we had to do the same thing.
Right. Do you know if we have any other ones? Because we do have an expansive list of pods that we're building. Do we have any other pods that are butting up to other ones? Because we're going to have to expect another 21,000.
Not that I know.
Okay. Those are my two questions, because like I said, I was concerned that was coming out of Riverboat funds, which we didn't allocate. Thank you.
Any other discussion or questions? Ms. Gay?
Yes, I just have a question for Mr. Heath. I understand Mr. Brookhouse's explanation about the architect, but could a portion of this, Mr. Heath, be because the codes are changing for specific things in the city? Period, as opposed to them finding that something is butted up. Because I know when I had air conditioning problems at my house, they had to actually cut another opening in my house, because when I built it years ago, what was built was sufficient. But when they came out to do some repairs, they had to come in and make another entrance and exit for someone to go in there to work. So is this a part of it, or it's just that we realized that they were butting up against each other?
No,
And
it's a part of it, because the fire marshal laws change and codes change all the time, and we just have to bring it up to date when we do a major construction.
okay, so only when we're doing a production, there's not going to be a time that the fire marshal goes out to inspect anything and he comes back and says, look, this is not up to code. You're gonna have to change this. We don't have to look forward to any of those types of circumstances, do we? Possibly? Okay.
They go out every year.
Okay, so at some point, a new energetic one might come in and say, well, no, this is wrong. This is wrong. You ought to get this straight.
I like the way you put it.
Yeah. Okay.
Anybody else?
I do have
Okay, Mr. Delphos.
And if you think these are some small figures, should these bonds pass, well, they are going to pass. When the bonds pass, we're going to have a lot of these kind of change orders, because, I mean, you're talking massive amounts of upgrades and reconstruction. So I would expect a lot of the same. Would you agree with that, Mr. Heath? Yeah, would you agree with that?
I think digging into buildings that already exist, you're going to
Yeah.
have some complicated.
And those are those things that we just can't see, and that's the part that we hate the most, so.
Of course, we will, those architects will be in there from the ground floor. And some of them are people who already built the building, so we would hope to minimize it.
Right, thank you.
Any other comments? All right, all in favor of accepting change order number 6, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? All right, it is unanimous. We are going to change up the batting order just a little bit unless the board has a problem with this. As you can see, number 12 is condolences and recognitions. We're going to do that. Then you'll see the scheduled committees, number 14. We want to move that up and just make the announcements before we go into executive session, because we don't know how long we're going to be in executive session, and we don't want the audience to needlessly hang around unless they care to. Condolences and recognitions, Mr. Hardesty, we're going to start on your end of the table and just moving on down. Anybody have any condolences or recognitions?
Miss Bobby Monroe, the secretary at Brenda Hunter Head Start, a wonderful person who met everybody with a smile, but she passed away recently. And then congratulations to so many good news things coming out in the news. The Health and Wellness Day was great. The Technology Conference was great. We have a Blue Ribbon School, Cooley scores. There's so many good things happening, and y'all are doing a great job of getting it out there.
Thank you, Ms. Bauer. Mr. Stark.
Miss Betty Keeter, she was a long-time teacher here, and that's Roman Thompson's mother-in-law. So also I'd like to add and thank all those folks that put on the health fair. It was an amazing event. I know our employees enjoy getting that extra % off. So for all those that volunteer, we appreciate it. And you know, a healthy workforce is a good workforce. So thank you.
All right, Mr. Dillon.
Yes. Condolence letter to Ray and Denton Hendricks, who are longtime teachers and principal at Bard, who lost a child recently, and also to Kevin White, the police juryman in Moss Bluff, who is recovering from a sudden illness.
I just want to mention something, and thank Tico's not here. Maybe we can do something a little more formal, but the STEM night celebration last week was incredible. Only a couple of us were able to make it, but boy, did they really roll out the red carpet for those students, and to see the joy on those students' faces, the ones that won several different prizes, but it was really, I'm so glad I went, and kudos to Sitco for putting that on. It was a first-class event. Thank you.
Absolutely. Mr. Hardy?
Yes. George Ben passed. His wife is a teacher, but also his Keita, Roman Thompson's mother-in-law. Mr. Henry Brown, wife of a husband of Shirley Brown, and helped all the work with you, Mr. Ben Franklin. He passed. And the guy would work with me at LaGrange, Jim Newton, passed. In addition, I'd like to send a letter of congratulations or recognition to Mary Lou Covington. Some of you might know her. She started the Toradors program about the time I was getting to Sulphur High School, 1967. So those people, thank you.
Mr. Gibby? Mr. Castillo?
Yes, sir. I had the honor today to go and judge at the Junior Beta convention, or whatever it's called, at the West Cal Arena, and I just want to let y'all know that there are some great elementary and middle school kids out there, some very talented kids. So it was an honor to go and be able to participate with them. I had a good time. And also, I attended W.W. Lewis's Veterans Day program, being a veteran, and I'm sure we have all attended local Veteran Day programs within our district, but I was just very pleased with the work that the teachers put into their program. It was very, very pleasing, and if you haven't been to one, if you're in the Sulphur area, try to go by there.
Ms. Gay?
No.
I would like to take a moment to also echo what Mr. Hardy said about Ben Franklin. When I came on board as the risk manager for the Calcasieu Parish School Board, Ben Franklin taught me more than a whole career in the risk management business could. He came to work with Nancy Sylvester when she was the risk manager for the city of Lake Charles. They both moved over here to the Calcasieu Parish School Board. She took the chair as the risk manager, and Ben came over as the safety officer, our claims adjuster, and just an all-around nice guy. And you hear that all the time, but in his case, it absolutely was the truth. He was a fine Christian man with a servant's heart. He gave above and beyond the call of duty in service to the Calcasieu Parish School Board. He was a Sulphur resident who made that trip for 20 years, 25 years, back and forth across the bridge. He would come at any time, hour, day, whatever it took to do his job. He would stand out in the rain on the side of a bus wreck. He would go into some pretty shady places to investigate claims against the school board. He would sit in depositions ad infinitum with Mr. Belfour and myself. And he was an anchor. He was an absolute anchor in the risk management department. He contracted lupus about 7 years ago and it finally got him, but he put up a brave fight and a noble fight, and I know he's rejoicing in being fitted for wings right now. I also want to chime in with what Dean said about the Citgo National STEM Day. I thought I was at the Academy Awards. Those kids were treated like absolute royalty. There were a couple of, at least 100 of them there, it seemed like, with the parents and everybody else, and they had been given the project of designing a racer, a car that would race without power. And they put that together, and it was a shining moment for public education and for the Calcasieu Parish School Board, to say the very least. It was over in Sulphur at their West Cal Assembly, and it was filled up. They had it decorated as though it was a fancy restaurant. A meal was served after they did the competition. It was just something that I was very proud to be connected with in some way, shape, or form. Okay, I want to announce November 28th, the Insurance Committee will be meeting at 5, followed by the A&P Committee meeting, and also December 5th, the C&I Committee will have their meeting. Unless there's any further comments. Yes, sir.
I just wanted to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. I know our teachers are looking forward to that break. So I just wanted to wish you guys well and enjoy the rest of your week. You can take it. So that's all.
At this time, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session. We have a motion. Who made it? All right, Mr. Duan, and a second by Mr. Hardy for the superintendent's evaluation for the contract year ending December 31st, 2020. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Folks, you're welcome to stay here. We don't know how long it will last, but that's up to you. Yes, sir. The vote was unanimous, Council. I'm glad you counted. Thank you very much.
Just in case. I never hit a drop.